Good evening. Welcome to the Tempe City Council meeting for September 28th here at the Harry E. Mitchell Government Center. For all those that are able, could you please rise, join us in the invocation by Councilmember Navarro, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mayor. Gracious God, guide us to speak the truth as you guide our ears to hear the truth. Help us always to listen to each other with humility and respect, and give us strength and courage to do the task before us this day, always. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next is our council meeting minutes. Vice Mayor Adriano Savage.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move approval of item 3A, 1 and 2.
It's been moved by Vice Mayor Arredondo Savage, seconded by Councilmember Keating. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion does carry. Vice Mayor Arredondo Savage.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move for approval of acceptance of item 3B, 1 through 14.
It's been moved by Vice Mayor Arredondo Savage. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Cuvie. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion does carry. Next is reports and announcements. I have some. I will come down to the podium. Is Chief? Yep, there she is. Could you please come on down, Chief Moore? If you could, I know as she's making her way down, we have a proclamation on behalf of public safety officers who work so hard to protect our residents from incidents and domestic violence. During the month of October, we should all do our part to raise awareness about the issue of domestic violence in our city and in our state, and encourage our fellow residents to take action to address it. With these goals in mind, as part of the Domestic Violence Awareness Month, I made a following proclamation. It states, whereas domestic violence is a pervasive problem that affects 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men in Arizona, and the trauma and suffering caused by domestic violence destroys families, threatens the safety of our neighborhoods, and weakens the ability of communities to thrive. And every 3 days in Arizona, someone dies in a domestic violence related incident. And whereas it is our responsibility as residents of the state to support each other in advocating nonviolence and securing a future for our children and for safe families. And whereas Maricopa County spends an estimated $18 million to $26 million a year addressing domestic violence through criminal justice systems and making domestic violence one of our biggest challenges that needs a solution. And whereas the observance of Domestic Violence Awareness Month will create awareness, educate, and strengthen the message that we can substantially promote all of our state and nation to join us in our campaign advocating for nonviolence and make a solemn commitment to end the violence, promote peace, making our community a safer place to live. And whereas the City of Tempe will light the City Hall purple in recognition of Domestic Violence Awareness Month on September 29th, 2017. Therefore, I, Mark Mitchell, Mayor of Tempe, Arizona, do hereby declare October 2017 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Thank you. Is folks from MAG and Cure 7 here? Cure 7? Oh, Dennis, come on down. And Amy, come on. Truly regional approach. Thanks, Dennis. Next, today I'm proud to take the time to recognize our community development staff. Would the staff please come on down to the podium? When businesses want to locate in our city, when a resident wants to remodel their home, when a neighborhood wants a residential code enforced, they come to the Community Development Department. They are a vital part of keeping our community moving forward. Thus, with this proclamation, I declare that October to be the National Community Planning Month. And I do have a proclamation that states, change is constant and affects all cities, and community planning and plans can help manage this change in a way that provides better choices for how people work and live. Community planning provides an opportunity for all residents to be meaningful, involved in making choices that determines the future of our community. And the full benefits of planning requires public officials and citizens who understand, support, and demand excellence in planning and plan implementation. And whereas the month of October is designated as National Community Planning Month throughout the United States of America and its territories, and whereas the American Planning Association and its professionals institute, the American Institute of Certified Planners, endorse the National Community Planning Month as an opportunity to highlight the contributions of sound planning and planning implementation, help to make the quality of our environment. And whereas in commemoration of the 10th anniversary of the Great Places of America program, during the National Community Planning Month, the City of Tempe celebrates Mill Avenue, a precious designee as the APA Great Streets in 2008. And whereas the National Community Planning Month gives us the opportunity to publicly recognize the participation and the dedication of the members of boards, commissions, and other citizen planners who have contributed their time and their expertise to the improvement of the City of Tempe. And we recognize that many valuable contributions made by professional community and planners of the City of Tempe, and extend our thanks for the continued commitment to support services of these professionals. Now, therefore, I, Mark Mitchell, Mayor of Tempe, Arizona, do hereby declare as October 17th as Community Planning Month. Make it, Mr. Reed. All right, one more. Actually, two more. Next, we have Chief Reese. Are you here? Or, oh, come on down. Tempe firefighters work every day to keep our residents and visitors of our community safe. In many areas, in many cases, that work involves training our residents on how they can protect themselves if a fire does happen in their home. In order to bring attention to this practice, I hereby proclaim as the month of October as a Fire Prevention Week with this proclamation. It states, whereas the City of Tempe is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living and visiting our city, the U.S. Fire Departments responded to 365,500 home fires in 2015, according to the National Fire Protection Association, which resulted in 2,560 civilian deaths in 2015, representing the majority, 78% of all U.S. fire deaths. And whereas many of today's products and furnishings produce toxic gases and smoke when burned, making it impossible to see and breathe within moments, leaving people much smaller windows of time to escape a home fire safely. And whereas home fire escape plans, which included 2 exits from every room in a home, a path to an outside from each exit, smoke alarms in all required locations, and a meeting place outside where everyone in the home will meet upon exiting, and should be practiced at least twice a year to ensure that everyone in the household knows what to do in a real fire situation. Whereas the City of Tempe first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protections and education. And whereas the City of Tempe residents are responsive to public education measures and are able to take personal steps to increase their safety in fire, especially in their homes. And whereas the 2017 Fire Prevention Week theme, Every Second Count, plan 2 ways out, educates the public about the vital importance of developing a home fire escape plan with all members of the household. Now, therefore, I, Mark Mitchell, Mayor of Tempe, Arizona, do hereby declare October 2017 as Fire Prevention Month in Tempe, Arizona. All right, no more proclamations, but I do have an announcement. Per the Tempe City Charter, I will be making board and commissions appointment this evening as part of our regular meeting agenda for the Mayor's Youth Advisory Commission. This appointment is listed under item 5A1. We're lucky to have some of the appointees here with us tonight. Could I have the appointees join me up front when I call your name? We have Natalie Eddington. We have Cynthia Ramos. Alyssa Montano. And Avia Sanchez. Avia Sanchez? All right, now you did this. Aviva Sanchez. Thank you so much for your commitment to the city of Tempe, being part of the Mayor's Youth Advisory Commission. Thank you. Mr. Manager, do you have any announcements?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one brief announcement. I want to acknowledge the soon-to-be retirement of Clay Workman. Clay works at the Tempe Public Library and has for the last 30 years. He is a big part of why that library is such a successful facility. We will miss him, but we wish him well in retirement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Andrew. Next item on our agenda is our consent agenda. All the items listed on the consent agenda will be considered as a group and will be enacted with one motion by the City Council. Unless an item is removed for separate consideration, members of the public may remove a public hearing item for separate consideration. Public hearing items are designated by an asterisk, and council members may remove any item for separate consideration. If you wish to speak on a public hearing item, please fill out a speaker's card, which can be found in the back of the council chambers. And could you please hand it to our Deputy City Clerk? She's raising her hand, Dusty. Thank you. I'll call your name when it's your turn for public comment. Consent agenda is as follows. Miscellaneous items 5A1 through 5A12. Awards and bids of contracts. Items 5B1 through 5B17. And resolutions, items 5C1 through 5C7. All right, with that, again, any agenda item that is marked by an asterisk, it is a public hearing item, and it can't be removed by a member of the public for separate consideration. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to have any of the items on the consent agenda that I just read be removed for separate consideration? Seeing none, I look to my council colleagues. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to remove item 5B12 to be addressed at a future council meeting.
Okay. Councilmember Granville?
Thank you, Mayor. Item 5C2.
Okay. Yes, Councilmember Keating?
Thank you, Mayor. Item 5B17.
17. Anything else? All right, with that, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item 5B12, 5B17, and 5C2? It's been moved by Councilmember Cubey, is seconded by Vice Mayor Hernando Savage. Please vote. Is David here? Is David on the phone? He's not? All right, that motion carries 6-0 with Councilmember Chaparro absent. All right, item 5B12 was removed by Vice Mayor Hernando Savage. I believe you said that you want that will be
Addressed at a later meeting.
staff has asked that to be moved to another future meeting. Do we need to take a motion on that? No? Okay. Next is item 5B17. Mr. Keating?
Thank you, Mayor. 5B17 is actually the Tempe Works Homeless Day Worker Program, and I wanted to take a moment just to speak on that, thank some people, and clear up any sort of misconceptions that there may be. So Tempe Works is a true community partnership between the private sector, corporate job bank, the public sector being the city of Tempe, and the nonprofit sector, Tempe Community Action Agency, to identify and employ Tempe's homeless. But it also does so much more than that. With Tempe Works, individuals will have access to housing services, transportation to and from the job site, logistical needs such as uniforms and work boots, case management, and have access to the additional wraparound services that are already offered through the city. One misconception I've heard about the program is that, oh, it's only 2 to 4 individuals, and what big of an impact could that possibly have? Well, my argument to that would be, well, my rebuttal, I guess, to that would be So those 2 to 4 individuals, we're talking about a life-changing event, a life-changing program. But another important point is that we're talking about 2 to 4 people at any one given time in 6 months increments. Once someone has been in the program for 6 months, they'd be eligible to be hired through Corporate Job Bank for different jobs around the city of Tempe, opening a position for another homeless individual to enter the program. So what we're doing is creating a pipeline to permanent jobs for those homeless that want them through the Tempe Works program. And finally, I'll say that this is a pilot program, and one of my favorite aspects about it is it can be scaled up quickly upon its proven success, which I have no doubt will come. In fact, we've already been approached by 2 new potential partners, which of course will mean more jobs created. So, and I've been told I can say this, and it's good news because I've been saying it a lot in the last week. At the end of the pilot program, we're going to be looking at dozens of jobs created for Tempe's homeless populations, not just 2 to 4, but dozens will be impacted by this. So I'd just like to thank staff for all their hard work on this. It was a long time coming, and we had some trials and tribulations, but we're able to get it done. Thank you to Alec Thompson, Tony Niano, and Judy Ballman, one of our community partners, Deborah Artiaga, with Tempe Community Action Agency and Corporate Job Bank for everything they did to help shepherd this to our meeting tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm assuming it's a motion.
Unless anyone else has anything, yes.
No.
Okay, yes. So now I'd like to make a motion to approve item 5B17.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Keating and seconded by Councilmember Cubie on items 5B17. Please vote. That motion carries 6-0. Congratulations, Randy. Next item is item 5C2. Councilmember Granville, I think it has to do with Cox.
It does. Excuse my voice. I'm getting over a cold, or getting a cold. I don't know which way it's going yet. So we've got a 2-month extension. I'm glad we've got a 2-month extension. It sounds like there's still a little more work that needs to be done. The things I would ask is, honestly, usually when we vote on stuff, we're voting yes because we have the ability to vote no. But in this one, because of the sort of myriad of federal and state laws, I actually don't really know, and how rarely these sort of things come up, I don't know what criteria by which I can vote no or yes. I don't even really know what's my palette of choices I'm allowed to pick from. So I thought I would just ask you if you could just do some research, send it around to all of council on a couple of different things so that I know if these are even eligible things or not eligible things for us to be discussing as part of this agreement. And I can email them to you as well. Number one is I really don't have any sense right now of what Cox does in our city. They could voluntarily provide it, but I think they're not required to. I don't even know that for sure. So for example, things like the internet speed they offer in various parts of our city versus other parts of Arizona or the Valley, the actual speeds people get as opposed to their theoretical speeds, because, you know, as more people sign up on a street, they're all sharing the same pipe. The downtime that they have by areas, the customer complaint volume by areas, if we can ever hold them sort of accountable for not if they just shut down for 3 weeks, just cause, I don't even know if we have any recourse in that. I know we do with our buses because we have a whole list of criteria, right? And I know we do with a lot of stuff, but I have no idea with this one. And then the other one is as it relates to their Wi-Fi boxes, their rollout of GigaBlast. They've given us schedules, but those schedules have slipped mostly with Google Fiber going away, it seems like. And if we can require any sort of reporting, or if that's the federal government says we can or can't, I just have no idea. And then recently they've also rolled out data caps. I have no idea if we have any ability to include any of that in our agreements, anything I've just said. But I would like to know if we can or couldn't, or what's even available to us as our palette of discussion.
Right, certainly, council member, we will look into that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, with that, is there a motion to grant the extension?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Granville, seconded by Councilmember Keating. Please vote. That motion carries 6-0. Next item on our agenda is our non-consent agenda. All the items listed on the non-consent agenda will be considered separately, Agenda items scheduled for introduction and first public hearing will be heard, but will not be voted upon at this evening. Agenda items scheduled for second public hearing and final adoption will be voted upon tonight. Item 6A1, miscellaneous items and bids and contracts resolutions. Item 6A1 is approve a one-year contract renewal with 33 approved firms that provide repair and maintenance services related to the upkeep of city facilities. Is there any comments or discussion from the council on item 6A1? If there's not, is there a motion on item 6A1? It's been moved by Councilmember Keating. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Granville. Please vote. That motion carries 6-0. Next item, item 6A2 is to hold a public hearing to take administrative action to extend and remove or determine compliance with the condition of approval regarding the schedule for development for the planned area development overlay for FNB Fountainhead located at 1665 West Alameda Drive. This is a public hearing item. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address us under item 6A2? Seeing none, I'll close that public hearing. Is there any comments or discussion from council or a motion on item 6A2?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Navarro. Second by Councilmember Keating.
Excuse me, Mayor and Council, there are several options for you there, so we would need a little bit more specificity on that. I can tell you that staff's recommendation is to approve a time extension to an undetermined date.
Okay. So is there a motion to approve the time extension to an undetermined date, Mr. Councilman Navarro?
So moved.
All right. Is there a second to Councilman Navarro's motion? Second by Councilmember Keating. Does that suffice? Yeah. Please vote. That motion carries 5-1, with Councilmember Granville voting no. Next item is ordinances items for introduction and first hearing. We do not have any. Move on to item 6C, which ordinances items for second hearing and final adoption. Item 6C1 is to hold a second and final public hearing to adopt an ordinance authorizing the abandonment of a portion of a 17-foot irrigation and public utility easement located in a subdivision south of Warner Road and west of Price Road. This is a public hearing item. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address us under item 6C1? Could you please get my attention? Seeing none, I'll close that portion. Is there any comments or discussion from the council or a motion on item 6C1? Moved by Vice Mayor Hernando Savage. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Granville. Please vote. That motion carries 6-0, with Councilmember Shapiro absent. Item 6C2 is to hold a second and final public hearing to adopt an ordinance authorizing the abandonment of a portion of a sewer line easement located at the northwest corner of University Drive and Rural Road. This is a public hearing item. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address us under item 6C2? Seeing none, I'll close that portion. Any comments or discussion from the council on item 6C2? Seeing none, is there a motion on item 6C2? Second. It's been moved by Councilmember Cubie, seconded by Councilmember Granville. Please vote. That motion carries 6-0. Next item is item 6C3, is to hold a second and final public hearing to adopt an ordinance authorizing the lease agreement between the City of Tempe and the Tempe Community Action Agency lease for a lease of space for the Escalante and Clark Park Community Gardens. This is a public hearing item. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address us under item 6C3? Could you please get my attention? Seeing none, I'll close that portion. Any comments or discussion from the council or a motion on item 6C3?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Navarro, seconded by Vice Mayor Hernando Savage. Please vote. That motion passes 6-0. Next item on our agenda is our current events and announcements. Councilmember Granville.
Thank you, Mayor. There's a lot of events that we go to, some because, we love them and some because we like them. I will tell you the one coming up in a week, in 2 days, is by far, I don't think we're supposed to play favorites, but it is certainly one of my favorite of the year. It's certainly the only one where I block off the whole day for it. and that is Tempe Tour de Fat is next Saturday. And so if you want to catch me at 7 or 8 a.m., I'll be out at Tour de Fat. And if you want to catch me at 3 p.m., I'll probably be out at Tour de Fat. But then at 6 o'clock, I'm going to the new Blade Runner. So yeah, it's just an outstanding event for a couple of reasons. Number one, because it very much wraps up the sort of spirit of Tempe. It's quirky, it's fun, it's, you know, it's related to bicycles, it's related to just, it matches the culture of the city really, really well. And so if you've never been out, at least go out once for an hour. It'll be something you've never seen before. It's like Carnival on bikes. It's a really fun, wholesome, interesting time. And other than that, I'm going to go home and go back to sleep. I'm sick.
Vice Mayor Redondo Savage.
Now, you knew this before. Pile of halls over here.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things. I think we got a couple of little cool slides that have been, or no, there's no slides. We have no cool slides. So there's no cool slides. Okay. No cool slides, so I'm going to wing it. I just want to give a really big shout out to our Tempe Coalition. For those of you who don't know who the Tempe Coalition is, it's an organization that's been around for 30 years, and they work really hard to combat underage drinking and drug use. And I'm really fortunate to be a part of that group, and the group is consistent of a lot of individuals in this community that care about our youth, from our faith-based, our schools, our colleges, and just a lot of local leaders. And we work really hard, but we just learned that we were awarded a 5-year grant, a federal grant, to keep the program running, and really, really excited about that. Because they do some really great work. If I had this cool slide, I would show you, but if not, I would say go to their website and check it out. To just be familiar with the Tempe Coalition, because they're doing some really wonderful things. And I know we've heard a lot, and Joel's been working really hard on our regional opioid epidemic, and these guys are a really big part of that success too. And I really want to give a great shout out to another good, really great working group, and Rosa was one that kind of helped in regards to things that we're doing to really connect with our businesses. And I want to make sure that our businesses, the people that manage our businesses there, know about our business survey that's currently out on the street. And it's a great way to let us know a little bit about your business, how the city of Tempe can connect with you, and what we can do better, what we're doing well. Because I think we can always make sure that you're successful, and that's really important to me, to make sure that our businesses are being heard and that we develop a really solid relationship with them. So if you get the opportunity, I apologize that I don't know the website off. I think it's like tempe.gov something. Rosa, is that right? Yeah, anyway, if you know somebody, I'll put it up. We'll put a note out. I'll make sure we get it out to everybody too. And I know it's going out to a lot of businesses, so I hope everybody will take the time. It's a little long, but it's really, really important that we hear from our local businesses. So I hope you guys will take the time to do that. That's all, Mayor. Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Navarro.
Yeah, Mayor, just something that just happened this past Saturday is a Unity and Community Festival that was happening over at behind, I'm blanking out now, behind Shady Park, actually in the alley over there. It was a art fest organically created by artists and musicians throughout the valley. And it was a 2-day fest with a variety of different bands, up to I think about 12 to 15 bands were out there over the course of 2 days. Great live music. Walt Richardson was there kicking it off for this event. And it's just another event that I think has the materials to start, what Tempe and the downtown area is all about with the live music scene and with the artists and working together and really just showing that unity. So I have to give kudos out to Scott Price and his group with Unity for the community festival, and more to come, so to speak, as we get into more live music. Thanks.
Councilmember Cubie.
Yes, 3 items. First of all, I want to congratulate Kathy Stevens, who is the latest winner of the Don Carlos Humanitarian Award. And she won that award last night at a beautiful dinner at the Para Club. So congratulations, Kathy, for all your work and all your labor of love for the community. Just an amazing, amazing night. Also, I'm forming a team for Tour de Fat, a volunteer team. If anybody's interested, it's, of course, the sustainability team. So sign up. We'll be selling tokens from 5:30 to 9. So if you want to volunteer for a great event, and all the proceeds go to bike groups. Third, Tempe's Equal Pay Program has been selected as a finalist for a Navigator Award, and it's awarded by a group called Route 50. And among 300 nominees, we are one of 10 finalists. They're going to award 2 awards around the time of the National League of Cities. And this is a program that has already been touted as the best equal pay partner program in the country of any U.S. city by the American Association of University Women. So congratulations to Rosa and Chowsty, Ginny. This is a lot of kudos to you and all the staff and hard work that has gone into this program, and to council for supporting it. Thank you.
Councilmember Keating.
Thank you, Mayor. I just realized that I forgot to thank Vice Mayor Arredondo Savage and Councilmember Navarro for all their hard work in Tempe Works. So I wanted to make sure that I acknowledge them. Yeah, want to make sure I acknowledge them as part of the working group, and they were a big help in bringing this fruition. They were at the meetings, and they were a big help, and they deserve to be thanked. And and one of the problems is when you thank somebody, you always forget. So you always forget somebody. So thank you very much for your guys' help.
Couple of things. One, this Saturday at Kiwanis Park at 7:30. This is very important for all of us men. It's the Walk for Pop, which is a Pride on Site project walk. It's the 9th annual. It's known as a Tim Barber in honor of our former Tempe police officer, Tim Barber. It is at Kiwanis Park. It's right off of Baseline. It's 7:30 a.m. registration. It only costs $25 for a registration fee. It's a great time for families. It's a great walk around Kiwanis Park. The weather's going to be nice and cool. There's great events and booths there as well. I would encourage, if you want to go work out, go walk around the Tempe Kiwanis Park for Walk for Pop. That is this Saturday at 7:30 a.m. Also, since I'd like to also recognize that on October 8th at the Tempe Public Library Complex is our Tempe Tardeada. I would encourage everyone to come out. Great food, great games, great for the families. It's a great entertainment time. It's from noon to, I believe, 6 p.m. On October 8th. And also on October 14th, well, actually October 12th, 13th, and 14th, and 15th is the Tempe Sister Cities annual Oktoberfest. It's a great event at Tempe Beach Park. It's great for families. And it's also the home game for ASU. We also got to make sure we cheer on ASU this Saturday. They had a big win last week against Oregon, first time in 10 years, so maybe who knows what can happen. One last thing I would like to recognize is, as already stated, but last night we had a great evening with Tempe Community Council regarding the Don Carlos Award and Kathy Stevens. It truly exemplifies what this community means in terms of volunteerism and giving back. And Kathy is the epitome of Don Carlos. She never looks for recognition. She's a hard worker. I've been honored to know her for over 25 to 30 years, actually. She's a tremendous asset in our community. It's a very well-deserving award, and congratulations to Kathy Stevens. With that, I will close that and go on to item number 8, which is public appearances. Item 8A is scheduled public appearances. We do not have any, so I'll move on to unscheduled public appearances. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the council? Could you please get my attention? I do have one card. I just want to remind, I have one card, and that person is Noah Rosen. Please come on down. State your name and place of residence for the record.
My name is Noel Rosen. I live in Wickenburg, but I have worked in Tempe. I'm here to stand in support of our police department. I'm well aware that there is an incident that happened in Tempe where somebody was shot and killed. This was a person who was a criminal. And this is in regards to the Dalvin Hollins issue, okay? The police did their job, and I'm encouraging the Tempe City Council, Mr. Mayor, to just stand by your officers. They deserve that respect. They did their duty, and they stopped a threat to the community. When somebody robs a store, threatens to kill people, runs from the police, and gets shot and killed, that's not the police's fault. That is the fault of the criminal. And I know that the chief of police is here. And, you know, I want to thank the Tempe Police Department for the work they do and the law enforcement for the work that they do. It's a hard job. It's not an easy job. But they do their duty, and they do it regardless of race, color, creed, sex, all of that, okay? And they did their duty that night. Lieutenant Wamet, who is now retired, he did his duty, and now he's being publicly attacked by the other side. And the city of Tempe and the Tempe Police Department are being attacked by the anti-police agitators. And they're using the media, and they're using everything that they can to bash our police. We need to stand up in support of our police. They are our city soldiers. They deserve our support. And I know I'm going to always stand for our cops. I've stood out in front of police headquarters with that thin blue line flag. It's not just some empty thing that I do. It means something. It means that there is one citizen that you are looking at right now that supports our police. And I am hoping that, I know there's a lawsuit pending, but I'm encouraging this city council to not give one red cent to the person that brought up that lawsuit, the mother of Dalvin Hollins. Okay? It's time that our police are defended. And, you know, I think it's ridiculous that there's somebody whose son commits a crime, gets shot, and it's his fault. It's not anyone else's fault but his. He took his life into his own hand. He made a choice, and it was the wrong one. It's not the city of Tempe's fault. It's not Tempe PD's fault. It's the criminals' fault when they run from police, when they threaten the community. And he was running towards a senior center. That's a credible threat. And of course, Lieutenant Wamet was found to not be liable for what's happened. So I thank you.
Thank you. Your
and
time is
I'm
up.
hoping you'll stay the course and defend our police.
Is anyone else in the audience wishing to address us under unscheduled public appearances? Could you please get my attention? Seeing none, close that portion. We are adjourned.